Hey everyone, how are you doing? Sarah and I here, Kaily, and we're so excited to bring this masterclass to you today and tomorrow. So we're going to be talking for about 45 minutes to an hour. So we got a lot jam packed in the next 2 days, and today we really want to start this with talking about how freedom is an absolute mindset and how to find your purpose.
Hey, everybody. As you guys are jumping on live, say hey below. Let us know where you're coming from. And just click above. You're going to see a link above stating that you're going to allow StreamYard access for us to see your comments. We want to make sure that we can see your comments. How you doing today, Kaily? Hey, Lauren.
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Good. I can just see that little bald head. Oh my God.
I know, right?
She's so cute. Ah, gosh, she's growing so big. Totally love this topic. And, I was totally going to talk about something else today, but I need to share my experience that I had today. So I have been studying mindfulness for over a year now. Like, I'm going to share some stuff from a book here, the teachings of Buddha. I just got autobiography of a yogi, and I've just been really diving deep into my studies of, my thoughts and how powerful our thoughts are. And something that I never understood. I never really understood thoughts. I never understood mindset. I would wake up and literally just trudge through my day, right? Like I lived on autopilot for 35 years, doing the same thing day in and day out. And no wonder I was so depressed.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more boring than having no purpose, right? Just waking up, being told what you have to do, where you have to go, what time you have to be there, how long you have to be there for, what your house should look like, what type of wife you should be, what type of friend you should be, what type of mother you should be, or father, or whatever you are, grandmother, what type of life you should live. Who's in charge here?
I totally know what you feel like, Sarah. And I was the same way. Like before I studied mindset work, it sounds so silly to think that we don't control our lives. But that was the thought I had. Like I woke up every day thinking I had to do the things I was doing with no thought behind it. I just did it. Yeah. Until I got into the mindset work and I was like, wait, I control my life? And it sounds so silly, but that's how it is.
It sounds so illogical, right? The way I was thinking about it is am I a puppet? Is somebody controlling me? Telling me how I should feel, what my day should look like, what my future should look like? The more I'm reading and studying, you and I do thinking into results, and I was doing the terror barrier today, and he talks about, where's my book? Here it is. He talks about how everything is generationally passed down to us. So he says right here, our conditionings are both genetic and environmental. In other words, as infants, we are programmed by the people we are surrounded by, and the conditioning of the parent or guardian was merely transferred to us. Mm-hmm. And it slapped me in the face because I followed exactly what my dad taught me to do.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at your dad, right, what did his parents do? You can literally look, especially exactly what you said, when I do that chapter in the Thinking into Results program, and Bob says that, you can literally look back down your family tree and see why you do what you do. Because my mom and dad taught me to do the things that I do. Their parents taught them. Their parents taught them. It literally goes back to the beginning of time. Yeah, things were tweaked in there, but you will always do what you were taught bringing up until you change the beliefs of what you believe. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
And that's where freedom is a mindset comes from.
Yeah.
It's your thought. You are a prisoner, a slave of your thought, of your conscious thinking. And for a person to change their results, they must change their paradigm. And a paradigm, if you don't know what a paradigm is, it's just your belief system. It's a multitude of habits that create your belief system. And in order to change your paradigm, this requires strong conscious control over your thinking. So your conscious thinking is what you think right now, right? It's your forefront. It's your reality. It's what comes into your mind. You analyze it, and that's what you get from it. Your subconscious mind picks up everything. That's why when we say you can think in pictures, that's why you can stand in front of your fridge. You can tell us if it's stainless steel, white or black. You can tell us if it's 2-door or 1-door. You can tell us if the freezer's on the top or the bottom without even being in the kitchen. That's why I can say to you right now, Kaily, describe your cottage to me. And you can be there. You're in your mind. You're there, right? Because your subconscious mind picks everything up. That's why when we feel good about something or we get excited about something, then all of a sudden you're in a shitty mood because you think of something that happened in the past. That's just your subconscious mind, your computer system sending you a thought.
Absolutely. And like, you can change any single thought that you have, right? And for so long, I thought that all the beliefs and thoughts that I had in my mind had to be that way forever. And until you actually study yourself, really, and the thoughts that you're having and why you're having them and why you are allowing them to reoccur day after day, is because that's how you were programmed growing up. And that's called a paradigm. So it's like a multitude of habits that you do over and over. And it's like when you change that, it doesn't change overnight either, right? Just like riding a bike, you have to do it over and over again until you understand how to keep the bike balanced and keep it going on the two wheels that it has. Same thing with mindset work. Like, it's an ongoing practice. And I just heard actually the other day that mindset exercise is just as or more important than physical exercise, because your mind controls your body.
Yep.
Your mind controls everything in your life. Like, if you look at your results and you don't like your results, it's because that's what's going on in your mind. Like, your outside life is literally a mirror of your inside world.
And your body will always follow your mind to the known.
Yeah.
Right? So when you have to go to the bathroom, your body goes to the toilet because it's known, right? When you're dirty, your body goes into the shower. When you're hungry, your body's in the kitchen. It's because your mind has been programmed to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. And today, when I was with the Buddhist nuns, I asked them, like, these nuns were in there, I think one was 7 years, one was 17 years, and I think the other one was 6 years that they've been doing it. And they were just normal people like me and you. Like, they told me their stories. 2 of them went to school for psychology. The other one didn't really know what she wanted to do. She thought she wanted to follow in her mom's footsteps, who was a big CEO in her country and like very successful. And she sat down with her one day, and after like asking her questions, she realized that her mom was very frail and she wasn't happy. And she knew that she wanted to be happy. And so they're telling me these stories, and, I'm telling them, I'm sharing my stories, and we're having great conversation. We're having coffee and like treats and stuff and smiling. And oh my gosh, like I felt like I was surrounded by this incredible light. Like, it was just unbelievable. I felt free. And they had said to me, sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes our minds wander, because that's what our minds do. Our minds are always on. Even when we are sleeping, our minds are always on. And they said, but we've learned how to, process what's happening based on their learnings, how to respond to the situation and how to get out of that funk. And you know what the interesting thing is, what they call themselves? They call themselves practitioners, because they're always practicing They're always writing. They're always meditating, and they're always learning. They learn all day long in everything that they do. Like they were telling me about, they set an intent, a theme for like the month. And they say one month it's like active listening. So if you're gardening, what are you hearing? If you're doing the dishes, what are you hearing? If you're washing the floors, what are you hearing? Like, it was mind-blowing. Like, that to me is freedom.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, right? I love that you just said they call themselves practitioners. That's what we are too. Like, we're practicing this every single day.
Yeah, I was thinking that on the way home.
It's so true, though. That's awesome. I never even thought of that before.
Yeah,
but that's so true.
Doctors call themselves practitioners because they're always practicing medicine. Mm-hmm. Monks call themselves practitioners because they're always practicing mindfulness. Chiropractors call themselves practitioners because they're always practicing what they're doing.
Yeah.
What we do, learning every single day, we keep practicing every single day, because let me tell you, life is not perfect. And if you keep trying to make your life like a Pinterest board, you will be a prisoner of your mind for the rest of your life. It doesn't look like that.
No. And, being a mom, I talk to so many moms out there. I know we have a lot of women in this group that have families, and we were from generations and generations and generations. We have the mindset and the belief that family and kids come first and you come last. And I was just talking with a mom today, actually, and she said just that. And she said, my happiness is the last thing that I think about. And for me, that's exactly how I was before I started into all this work. And sorry. And I thought that's so true. And, men too. Men are like, we are people pleasers. Yeah. And we put a lot of people first before ourselves. And with that, we bury all the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts that we have. And when you truly want to be happy and have happiness in your life, which in turn turns to freedom, it all starts in your mind first and the thoughts that you're having. Because, even last night I was sitting here and if you don't know me, a year ago, I wasn't this person. I was completely different. And people have noticed how I show up in my life, how I'm always positive. And I had my husband's uncle reach out to me last night, and he's going through some things. And he sent me a message, and he said, how are you always so positive? I need some of that in my life. And I had probably an hour and a half conversation with him, and he was thanking me from the smallest advice I gave him, as only pay attention to the things that make you happy, because he's going through a rough time. And I said, there's always negative. It's the law of polarity, right? There's an in and there's an out. There's an up and a down. There's a sad, there's a happy. You can't have one without the other. There's always going to be negative in your life, but you get to choose if you're going to give your energy to it. Yep. So I said, in any situation, in anything that happens in your life, there's going to be a good and a bad to it, for other words of saying, a good and a bad to everything. But what are you giving your attention to? Freedom isn't built on bad things or negative things. Freedom is built on positivity and happiness. So if you only allow yourself, and I'm saying allow yourself because that's exactly what you do when you choose to feel the way you feel. So if you only allow yourself to focus and give your energy and awareness to the positivity, the positive things, the happy things, that's what you will get. And it's so cool that if you practice this for even one day, you'll realize that everything you start seeing in your life day after day after day is going to be more of that. So more positivity, more happiness, because you can probably relate to this, right? If you go to buy a new vehicle and say you pick out like a for me, it's a silver Jeep Cherokee. You pick that vehicle out, and then all of a sudden, every single car you see on the road is a Jeep Cherokee that's gray or silver, right? So whatever you put your attention to is what you see more of.
Yep. Wherever your focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely.
Hey, everybody. So for those of you jumping on, we can't see your comments. You're coming up as Facebook users. If you can just click the link above us, you'll see a link there, and it just allows StreamYard to see who you guys are. But hello to everybody. And yes, it is 100% our choices. So for those of you jumping on, we're talking about freedom as a mindset. And this morning I had the privilege of visiting a Buddhist institute. So it is Great Wisdom Buddhist Institute here on Prince Edward Island, and it has Buddhist nuns, and they had invited me personally. So it was just me and 3 other Buddhist nuns this morning, and we had coffee, and they showed me their grounds, and I told them my story, and they told me their story. And one thing, hey Sabrina, thanks. One thing that I had said to them, I told them what I'm going through and everything, and they gave me some really amazing advice. And one thing that I had said to them is like, I'm feeling stuck right now because I've raised my awareness so high that I feel like I don't have enough people to surround myself. Hey, Karina, surround myself with, that speaks the same language as we do. And they were amazing, and they stated that our mission here on life is to serve. Yes, they are so happy. They are probably the happiest people that I have ever come across, but their mission is to teach mindfulness. They learn all day long. They learn all day long. Like when they told me how much they study and what their day and their routine was like, they take what they learn, they memorize it, and then they teach it to others. So they have been traveling around Canada and the United States teaching mindfulness. And I just had an aha moment. Like that to me is freedom. Like to spend 4 hours just teaching and learning and growing. And they teach mindfulness walking. Like I didn't understand the mindfulness walking. They're like, we are very mindful the way we walk. We make sure not to step on any bugs or any ants because we're all connected.
Oh, wow. I've never thought of that either.
Yeah. They get up at 3:50 in the morning, and the first thing they do is meditate, and then they go and they make their bed, because they say when you make your bed, you clear your mind. It's the first task of the day, right? And so it clears that mindset. And we are prisoners of our mind. We're prisoners of our thoughts. We become addicted to the way that we think. And there's a poem here. It's called Wakefulness, and it's in Teachings of the Buddha. If you guys haven't read this book, it's a really good one, and I just want to read it for you. He says, wakefulness is the way to life. The fool sleeps as if he were already dead, but the master is awake and he lives forever. He watches, he is clear. How happy he is, for he sees the wakefulness is life. How happy he is following the path of the awakened. With great perseverance, he meditates, seeking freedom and happiness.
So good.
Meditation is so key. And again, it's not about emptying your mind and visualizing and manifesting. Yes, that's an important part of it, but it's being in the present moment. It's being mindful. It's removing that victim mentality. Right? Because we get addicted to suffering. We get addicted to, negativity. We get addicted to surrounding ourselves with people who are, talking about all the negative that's happening, because they want to feel the words that we say to them, because we tend to pay more attention. Have you ever noticed that? The victims tend to get more attention. Like I did when I played the victim. I always had, well, this is going to happen. Just do this. Don't worry. And I always had somebody to talk to. But now that I'm more aligned and awakened, like Sabrina said, I'm finding it difficult to find people who are on that same level as me. Believe it or not. Like, I'm blessed to have Kaily in my life, and Karina in my life, and Sabrina and Rosemary and Alicia and April and all these people who, like, I'm so thankful who are studying the same things that I am, because it gives me that opportunity to talk to people.
Yeah, and that's so true, Sarah. Like, even if you go online, like right now, right, and on your Facebook or Instagram or whatever you spend your time on, you'll find that like a post about something negative, people are the first to jump in there and be like, that bastard, or, you know, whatever, because for whatever reason, people are drawn more to attack and do something on the negative, rather than if somebody comments in about something they did in their life where they're happy, you know, people will skip by it.
Yep. So true. It's so true. I think somebody had posted something in like a buy and sell group, and they just started, what do they call it? Trolling. People are there just to be negative, right? Because we get stuck in that mindset. Oh, yeah. Lauren.
Just having quite a time right now.
Yeah.
It's all good though. But yeah, so when I really dove into this work and I was focusing on, you know, me, that's when I found my happiness. Because when I focused on me and I was looking for, oh yeah, when I was looking for my, you know, what makes me completely happy in life, that's when I found my purpose.
Yep.
Because it was just me thinking about me instead of my daughter, my son, my husband, my family, my mom, my dad, my grandma, how everybody else was doing. And when I just started focusing on me, that's when everything changed for me, because you don't realize that the way you feel about yourself is going to in turn come out in every single relationship that you have. Really.
Isn't that the truth?
Especially in marriages, you know? Like, I know we were talking the other day, Sarah, and so often, I think you said this, you know, your husband will say to you, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. And you're like, no, I don't. Stop. Right? That's just a feeling that you feel about yourself until you change that. So,
you know, let's stop here for 1 second. I just want to say one thing. I was observing these Buddhist nuns, and they wear the same robe, they wear the same shoes, they have shaved heads, no makeup, no jewelry, nothing. And I'm just observing them, and I didn't understand it until I started reading Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and he talks about it takes away that pressure, right? Because and then he said, you know, maybe you don't have the robes, but he said, set out your clothes for the night before. Set it out. And then it takes the pressure off, because we have such precious time in this world that we spend so much time on mundane things like getting dressed, doing our hair, doing our makeup, right? Trying to who are we trying to impress? Realistically, who are we trying to impress? Are we trying to impress our spouse, you know, the people on social media, or do you look in the mirror and truly love who you are? Right? Oh, Lauren, naked baby. I want to read this other quote that I saw in here. So it's called Look Within. There is no fire like greed, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger of heart, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom is your greatest joy. Look within, be still, free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of living in the way. And I thought I had found my purpose. I thought I had found my purpose when, you know, last year when I was doing this program. Pretty sure I found my purpose today. When I was driving home from that institute and I was thinking about what they said about, you know, the way they do their chores and their their gardening, and, you know, the way they teach people and the way that they learn. We talked about mentors. This one was a huge aha for me. In order to call yourself a mentor in the Buddhist Institute, you have to follow certain procedures and you have to practice what you preach. So that was a big aha for me. And I kept thinking about, what type of mentor do I want to be? What type of legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to change people's lives? And I want people to feel joy and freedom and happiness and free from the chains of the thoughts that are in your head. And I want you to experience joy. And I had my biggest aha and I found my purpose on my way. I want to help those Buddhist nuns grow so that they can continue to change so many people's lives, because they are currently doing that. And I want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? If you're listening right now and you're trying to figure out, you know, your passion and your purpose and basically your happiness to get you there, one thing you can do is take a piece of paper and write down every single thought in your mind that isn't serving you. Like, write it all down. Spend a day, 2 days, a week writing all the thoughts in your mind down that are negative and that just aren't serving you. Because when you, like, oftentimes we bury our thoughts and our emotions, right? But if you come to realization with, she's so rolly.
I know, I love it. It's a little Michelin baby.
There's a little Buddha right here.
Yeah.
When you come to realization of your thoughts and your emotions, and for once in your life, you're told to recognize them and not bury them, and you accept them. Like, that's my biggest thing I tell people is accept them. Because when you accept the thoughts that you have, good or bad, and you recognize them, it's so much more powerful to think, okay, these thoughts I have and that I wrote down here, I know and accept that they are no longer serving me, and I accept them as they are, but I'm choosing and deciding to move on from them. And allow yourself to shred them, to burn that paper. Because when you do that, it's so more powerful, or it's not so more powerful, but so much more powerful than just keeping them buried and trying to cover them up with happiness. Because if you just try and cover it up and never actually let yourself release, you will never be able to be completely happy, because that'll always be buried until you allow yourself to let go of it.
So Bob talks about this, right? He talks about emotions need to be expressed, because if your thoughts and emotions are not expressed, then they become suppressed. And when they're suppressed, they cause havoc on your body, which causes depression, right? We feel like, this is probably one of the biggest paradigms, is we feel like we can't talk to people. We feel like we're not allowed to show our emotions because our parents told us to hush up. Our parents told us to suck it up. Our parents told us to get up and dust it off and walk it off, shake it off, right? That was what we were told to do. So now we feel like we can't share our emotions, that we need to be the bigger man or the bigger person or whatever our parents told us to do. So we suppress all of this, which then becomes crazy thoughts in our head. It's a jumble of thoughts where we get lost and we become the victim in our own mind. And then the doctors say the only way for you to cure your depression is to take these pills. But honestly, the best antidepressant I ever had was writing it out. I have binders of, like, I have 5 binders. I've only been doing this for a year and they're full. Like, look at this. I've been doing it for a year and this binder is full, and I have 5 of these because I just write every day. And it's not like I write all day, but the Buddhist nuns do. They were writing. They told me they write a lot. They write just before they go to bed. They write in the middle of the day. They learn. But when you release it from your mind and you let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my favorite quote from Gabby Bernstein is, I forgive myself for having this thought. I thank the thought for revealing to me what I don't want so that I can clarify what I do want. So important.
That's huge. And you know what, Sarah? Until I got into this material, I never ever wrote down anything. Like, even like ever. I mean, in school when you're told to write down your stuff for homework, but like when you look at I just had an aha moment saying homework. Like, this is our home.
Yes.
And when you work on it and do your homework with your mind, I don't know where that just came from. It just came to me like we need to do our own homework, because the way your body moves through life, the way your body reacts to things is all based on the thoughts in your head. So when you allow yourself to do the homework and put it on paper and write it out, like I never ever used to do that. And I can now see why for years I had the same battles. You know, why when bullies would say things to me like you're fat or you're ugly, or, you know, I was in trouble growing up. I can now see why that happened, because I had things going on within me, and my self-image wasn't there. So if you don't know what self-image is, it's how you see yourself, not physically how you see yourself, but how you think about yourself. So, you know, when people would say things to me, I would just accept them to be true because that's how I seen myself. Right? So often somebody says, you know, you hurt my feelings. Nobody can hurt your feelings unless you accept what they're telling you to be true.
I'm super excited that you brought that up, because that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, because the Buddhist nuns talked to me about decision today. And, you know, studying decision for the last year, it totally brought everything together.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is a decision to change your entire life.
Oh my God. And the one decision that I made changed my entire life. Like, if I didn't make that decision in turn, so many things in my life right now wouldn't be here, including you, because I wouldn't have met you.
I know. I wouldn't have met you either. I wouldn't have met some amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
I would still be working where I was working. I could still be in Ontario right now in the middle of lockdown, probably lost my job if I didn't make a decision. Yes, decisions are scary when we first think about it, but like Will Smith says, God put everything on the other side of fear. All the good stuff's on the other side of fear.
How true is that?
Yep. So
you know,
true.
It's so funny though, but because we get to pick the things that make us fearful, right? Like, you don't walk out your door every morning thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I should open the door because I might whatever on the other side. No, you walk out of it knowing with full belief that you're going to walk out of it fine and do whatever on the other side.
So I have been having very big realizations about this. We never know when it's going to be our time. We believe. Why is it that we believe that we are going to get through today safely, come home, and go get up the next day? Why is that a belief? Why is that faith right there? But when we want to do something to change our lives, or that is going to make us feel better, we retract. Like, we feel so fearful. I had a realization today that today could be my last day. How do I want to spend it? There's a million people that didn't wake up today. There's millions of people who had to say goodbye to their spouse, their children, their family, their friends, right? Like, we never know. People are like, oh, they died tragically. It's not tragic. Some of them are. It's just their time.
Mm-hmm.
Their time is up.
That's so crazy that you said that. Yeah.
What are the last words I'm going to say to Donnie? What's the last thing I'm going to do today? We never know. And that is my big realization, is if today is my last day, because I don't know if my body will wake up tomorrow. What am I going to do today? How can I serve today? How can today be the best day of my life the best day of your life, Kaily? How can I help people create a beautiful day today? What can I say? How can I show up? How am I going to be around my husband? Am I going to schedule that sex for Friday, or am I going to just do it today because I don't know if Friday is going to come around?
Yeah. And you know what? I used to, like, my motto or moto, however you say it, in life was, when I used to work with individuals who had disabilities and I worked full-time in a group home, my drive and purpose there at that point in my life was, I walked into every shift and I left every shift knowing that when I walked in and I walked out, I put the most happiness that I could in my residents, and I always had them smiling. And that was awesome. I mean, but coming from the mindset now of, I did that because, yeah, I felt happy inside, but I was doing that for them, not for me. You know, I wanted them to be happy, and they did. They absolutely love me, and they always asked for me if I wasn't there. And I still get to FaceTime them, but I mean, when you start doing things for you, and finding your happiness, that is freedom. That is complete freedom. And when you make the decision that you want to change, and so many people have a hard time making a decision, and I understand why. I did too. And it's hard because, like you just said, Sarah, you don't know. You don't know what can happen. But if you're in the mindset right now of, you know, the more of the lack or the negative mindset, everything you think of might be, but if this might happen, you know, all
that
the ifs.
Word, that 2-letter word right there has stopped so many people, has brought people to their grave with regrets. It's 2 letters. If. Like, if. Seriously.
And most of the time, like, you can probably agree with me just by looking into your thoughts right now, but when you use the word if, usually a negative thing follows it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, if I do that, this will happen. Like, my son, don't run that fast, because if you do, you might fall. Not, you might be the fastest runner in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're looking at your life, be completely honest with yourself. Like, the biggest thing that Sarah says, and that really resonates with me, and Lauren's having the time of her life now. She's like, I'm naked.
She's agreeing. She's agreeing.
Yeah. But the biggest thing that Sarah says, that really resonates, is take everybody out of the equation.
Yep.
If it was just you, which it internally is just you, because if you're not happy in here and you're not feeling all the things in here, doesn't matter who's around you, that's how you will always be.
Yeah.
You know, we always look outside of us for happiness, and that's not how it is. We look outside of us for things that will make us feel free. But even freedom of going on vacation, you know, for 3 days, 5 days, that last day of your vacation, you're thinking, holy shit, I don't want to go back home because I'm not going to have the freedom when I return home because I have to go back to my reality. Like, how shitty is that?
Yeah, it is. That's a prisoner mindset. And if you're feeling like that, and they say if you, who says it, if you go like 2 or 3 days and it's the exact same thought, you need to change. And that was me. Like, in every job that I had, I would wake up and I'm like, I hate this job. I don't want to do this job. So I would leave the job. You know, people thought I was indecisive. That's the thing, because I've had 27 jobs. I'm 37 years old. I've had 27 jobs. People would say I'm indecisive. I'm not indecisive. I know what I don't want. And it keeps pushing me towards what it is that I do want. Mm-hmm. And it's going to keep changing. And it is okay to change your mind. You want to change your mind. We are human beings. We are goal-seeking beings. We were never, ever meant to be as comfortable in life as we are now. We are the most comfortable time in history. Our ancestors dreamed of this, but we've also become the most unhappy, the most unproductive, and the laziest. And we complain about everything. We complain about everything, yet you can walk into a building that you didn't build and purchase food from countries that you have never been in. There are people who will never experience ketchup chips, right? There are people who will never experience different types of produce. There are people who will never experience in their lifetime what it feels like to feel warm running water from a tap. So when you come back and you complain about not getting enough social assistance, EI, not enough money from your work, you have the power to change it. You have the power to free your mind from that prison that you keep yourself in because it's more comfortable. That's why prisoners have it better than we do, because it keeps you comfortable.
Yeah, that's so true, Sarah. And I say this all the time. It sounds so silly to say that we control our lives. And actually, like, that people don't believe that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have the belief that you wake up today with a choice to change your life. You know, the second you get off watching this live, you have a choice to either just keep going and doing what you did yesterday or change your life. And it all starts with that one thought of, I want to change it or I don't. But then the biggest thing behind that is taking the action, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the mindset behind it to take the action of what it is you want to do, you really won't do anything, because you don't, like, you can think all the things, but if you don't put it into action, you'll never change. And that's what I learned with stepping into mindset work. And that's what Sarah and I do now, is we help people globally, and we want to help you to change the thought processes and patterns that you've had for years. You know, tell us your goal. We want to help you get there. Like, that's my passion and my purpose now, is to help every single person that I can. You know, and not everybody's a fit for me, and that's okay.
Yep.
But if you want complete freedom in your life, if you want happiness in your life, that starts with you. It doesn't come from anyone else. It doesn't come from a certain thing. It comes from you.
Yep. So today, what we are asking you to do is, we want you to practice some gratitude, and like really practice gratitude. We are all thankful for our health and our house and a roof over our head and food on the table. But be grateful for really small things that you might not think of, like water from a tap, brushing your teeth with an electric toothbrush, toothpaste, you know, the convenience of having food inside your house,
Electricity.
warm water, dishwasher, right? Be grateful for the little things. You know how, like, I'm so passionate about nature. Like, I think Mother Nature, she provides us everything. There is nothing more beautiful than the day after it rains. Like, the green of the grass and the trees. And like yesterday, I was sending Kaily a voice note, and I just looked at the window and I'm like, oh my gosh, my cherry tree was blossoming, and I freaked out, and I was still voice recording. Right. So she got to experience my gratitude in that, because that's amazing. And like, I saw a woodpecker in my bird feeder, and I never saw that. So we want you to write down just 3 things that you're grateful for. Find 3 small things that you're grateful for. But then we also want you to send some love to somebody who maybe you're not on good terms with. Just send them some love. Let them know that you're thinking of them. And then we'll see you guys tomorrow, where we talk about the terror barrier and faith over fear and making a decision.
Yeah. And then also, I'm going to add to that, Sarah, like I said before, write down on a piece of paper all of the things that aren't serving you and bring that to tomorrow, because we'll use that tomorrow too in the class that we're going to do. So write down 3 things you're grateful for, send love to somebody that you're not on good terms with, and do a brain dump of all the things that are holding you back. And then we will see you back here tomorrow, same time.
Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you all. See ya.